Hello, we are live. Welcome to She Boss Talk. I am your host, Shanté R. Roddy. Welcome, welcome, welcome into this special broadcast that we have for you all today, all of you ladies, to really talk about COVID-19, the impact on women in business, and the rise. So we want to talk about what is happening with women in business during this unprecedented time and how we can use this as an opportunity to rise and thrive in our businesses. And I wanted to bring on some powerhouse women, entrepreneurs and business owners who can speak to their own experience and share some tips, some tricks to help you to be able to take your business to the next level, even during this time. So know that this is a prime time for opportunity. Your time is now, and I'm so happy to have these guests on. Please do come in. We see you all coming in. Ask your questions. This is the time to have your questions answered if you have them. If we do not get to them during this broadcast, we always follow up and engage with you after the show and answer your questions at that time. Please hit that love button and also share out this broadcast so more women are able to see this information, because I know there's a lot of us out there that are going to need the information that we're going to be sharing with you today. So with that being said, I'm going to get right into it and welcome in our guests and let them introduce themselves. Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Okay, so we're going to start with Simone. Simone, can you please introduce yourself to our audience?
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. Nice to be here. Thanks for having me, Shanté. My name is Simone Morris, and I am the owner of Simone Morris Enterprises, LLC. We are a professional services firm that offers training, coaching, and speaking services around the areas of career expertise and inclusive leadership.
Hello. Did the sound cut out?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Introduce yourself.
Yes, sorry. I said the sound cut out for a second. Hello, everyone. My name is Katanni Bramhan. I am the founder and creative director of the District-Concierge branding boutique, where we specialize in brand identity, design, and strategy for creative professionals in the arts, entertainment, media, and events industries. I also have a couple of other businesses. I do consider myself a serial entrepreneur, but the K District is my baby and the one that I do full time.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. And Angie?
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Angie Hamilton, and I am the founder and CEO of the HR Chique Group. We are a leadership development and human resources consultancy, helping small businesses, startups, and individuals to create very dynamic, diverse, and organic cultures. So thank you, Shanté.
Thank you so much for being here. And I just wanted to start by just saying that, women are some of the most powerful beings on this earth, and we're doing so much. We're leading in the area of entrepreneurship and the fastest growing startups. And we are also a lot of times in positions in our businesses. So whether we're working for another company or we have our own business, we're often on the front lines, right? So when we talk about those essential workers, those are women that are in these positions, women's businesses that have been impacted mostly by COVID-19. Are women businesses, industries that are of service. So, whether that is healthcare industry, you're a daycare, you're a retail facility, those are those that are on the front lines that are being most exposed and impacted. So when COVID-19 happened and we had these stay-at-home orders, so many millions of businesses, small businesses were impacted. And that includes women businesses. So we are the majority of businesses that were impacted by COVID-19. And there are programs out there to assist us. But even with those programs, we've been underrepresented and not being able to to be provided with equal access to opportunities as far as funding and grant opportunities. So if you know me, you know that I've been putting out as much information out there to empower women to share information and resources that you may not know about, so that we do that here on the show. So I want to be able to do that here today. And even those opportunities that we don't share here on the broadcast, I will follow up and make sure that we put that information for you in the comments. But I want us to start with our guests, because you all have women-owned business. You're women-owned businesses, and you all come from various industries. And so I want to first just start with, understanding that you're powerhouse women. But can you tell the audience, how have you in your business been impacted by COVID-19?
Yeah, well, I can tell you definitely COVID-19 impacted the industry of human resources, mainly with my business. It's really face-to-face and going into organizations and having, front-facing meetings, and with the impact of COVID, that halted. So having to try to pivot and trying to really figure out and determine what's best for the company and what's best for individuals out there. Right now, as you mentioned, women, we're the least represented in terms of support, but we have the greatest educated base in the United States. We have the largest employment base. However, we're the one group that's really underutilized in terms of being able to really gain during this time. The individuals that are really coming out on top are the men. So how do we do that is really, through empowerment.
Yeah. Yeah. And how have you been able to stay empowered during this time, where it's impacted your business? So not maybe only yourself, but your clients. How have you stayed empowered and been able to empower others?
I think it's all about the power of community. I think during this time, you're seeing so many individuals who are underemployed, displaced. And I felt that, my best interest is to help individuals to really gain employment. Really working with small businesses who have been impacted that have to lay off staff. It's really difficult to have that conversation, with staff members that they're really close to and they've grown to know really closely. But given the time and given the, financial constraints, most companies and organizations are unable to do so. And it's become a burden to the company. So being able to really provide that support and that safe place for individuals and for companies so that they can actually work through this, because this is something that we have never seen. It's very unprecedented. So what we do now will set the pace and it will lay the foundation for future crises. So hopefully that's what I've been able to do, is just really trying to be a support for individuals who are really, suffering during this time, which is, I think, all of us in some aspect has had an impact.
Yes. Katanni, what about you?
I was gonna say, I admit that the impact actually caught me by surprise. And the reason for that is when we first shut down in my state and we had the stay-at-home orders and stating that people would be working from home, in my mind, immediately I just said, well, I already run my business from home. I shouldn't be that impacted. What I did not anticipate is that my clients were impacted. And my clients being in the entertainment industry and productions being shut down, clients being in the events industry and events are canceled. I did have speaking engagements that were lined up, and some of them have turned virtual. Some of them were just canceled, and I was directly affected in that regard. But yeah, at first, when it didn't really hit me until clients started coming to me or prospects started coming to me and saying, oh, I can't move forward at this time. I just got laid off, or my business has closed and I'm not going to have revenue come in, and I can't move forward at that time. I also was just not COVID related. I also just lost a huge retainer that I had for about 6 months. So when those things happened all at once, I'm just sitting here. I just sat here like, oh, yes, I can be affected, even though I have a business that I run from home. So luckily, I've been using this time to just kind of focus on developing, more streamlined systems and just taking some time for some self-care. And I do have a couple of clients that have been keeping me afloat. But I've actually just taken this time to take advantage of the little bit of downtime that I have. I'm lucky and blessed to be able to do that financially. So I am slowly getting back into the swing of things in terms of running my business full steam ahead. In terms of pivots that I made, I have began selling some essential products, some COVID-19 products, especially since businesses have been slowly opening back up, especially in other states. Don't know I think my state will probably be shut down for a while, but everyone else is going to be opening up. So that's one of the pivots I've been doing, is selling COVID-19 products such as face shields, the acrylic partitions, floor graphics, posters, and banners that promote social distancing, and also and face coverings as well. So other than that, I've been enjoying the downtime.
Awesome. And I just wanted to piggyback off of what you said, because I think it's so important. I think sometimes in the scheme of things, it gets lost, is the fact that there are businesses like us, I'm a home-based business, that were equally as impacted as your brick and mortar businesses. And I think sometimes even with these programs that are being rolled out, they don't think about those that are home-based businesses, or those of us that may be solopreneurs and don't necessarily have employees, as though we were not as significantly impacted. But like you said, you work from home, but the clients we serve are entrepreneurs and small businesses. So if they are out of business, then that impacts our business, right? If they're struggling financially, that means that there's some changes that we need to make in our business that's impacting our revenue. So it's a trickle down effect. So I just want to let all the women out there know, no matter what business you're in, I don't know any of us that have not been impacted. And I would really love for you to comment as to, how you were contacted and what types of things that you're doing to be able to really sustain and during this time. So thank you so much for that, Katanni. Simone?
Yeah, I think what's been said, I echo as well. I'm a home-based business, and for me, the biggest impact has been childcare and wrestling with that, and how to still be an entrepreneur and worry about full-time childcare. I didn't realize how much I depended on the childcare system and having my daughter go outside of the home so I can really focus. So for me, the early days were really stressful in terms of compartmentalizing and giving myself grace that she can show up at any time. I really tried my best to keep her quiet, but she got curious about what I was doing and started to engage. And I had to learn to allow her to come into the space and not be so rigid about, this is my space, you can't come in here, and allow her free reign, because the time just kept growing and growing and growing. And so now she's at home full time, and it's a bit of juggling. How do I do my calls? How do I work? I'm working more late at night. So that was a big impact for me. I also felt the impact of the speaking business or the events business, because I was doing quite a bit of traveling last year out there speaking, and that has had me pivoting. And it actually has been well received on my end, because I was just going. And this is a bit of a slowdown, allowing me to bring back in some much needed self-care, but also to really look at my business model and how much of it I dole out to others. So now I'm changing the model where a lot of my programs will be Simone Morris programs as opposed to other people's programs, and depending on that. So that is the pivot that I'm doing, looking at getting more business acumen on being a CEO, the best CEO my company can have, taking care of myself, and sort of doing the dance between family and business.
Yeah. Can you offer just really quickly, because I think this is such an important point, as a mom, I know so many other mompreneurs and business owners out there have that same struggle, trying to, focus on business, which is already hard enough, but then being in a position where you have to now homeschool your children and take care of them at home, and then try to balance that. What can you share with other mompreneurs about some of the things that you've been able to do to help you with that process?
Yeah, I think, Shanté, the first thing is to give yourself grace. I teach for a living, and so I thought, nah, I should be able to do this. Well, it's actually not the same. And I remember organizing a Zoom call for my daughter's class, and I had this agenda in my head about how it was going to flow, and they were not interested. And I felt terrible after I did it. Like, why can't I do this? I do this for a living. But, with a 4-year-old and young children, it's very different. So give yourself grace that you aren't the teacher. That's not what you invested your professional development dollars in, and that's not your full-time job. So be kind to yourself in terms of what you can actually do. And that took me a while to be nicer to myself about the schedule that I created, about what I was able to share. So I would say that's one thing. The other thing is to allow your children into your space, allow them to get some form of learning about what it is you do. And my daughter is starting to use different language, like, Mommy, you're on another call, or what call do you have today? Like, getting curious, and I'm like, okay. And, taking care of yourself, I would say the self-care is so important. So I get me time in the shower, perhaps late at night. And I find myself allowing myself to have downtime. So maybe watching a show on Netflix that I wouldn't do before, but just realizing that I need to decompress and have some Simone time. So those are some of the things that I do.
Yeah. I've been doing that too, because I'm not a TV watcher, but during this time I said there were so many good programs people were telling me about, and I said, I'm going to take this time to do it. So those things that you have not had the time to do before, this is the greatest time to be able to focus on those things, to be able to focus on you. And we've already heard at least twice in this broadcast, the reference to self-care and how important it is for us as women, right? Period. And especially for us as women entrepreneurs to really take that time, whether it's early in the morning, late at night, scheduling it on your calendar, but making self-care a priority is going to be so important, and take the time now to do it. So thank you so much, Simone, for that. I know the women out here will definitely appreciate that. The next thing that I really wanted to talk about is some of the relief programs that are out here for us women in business. And so I just wanted each of you to just talk about if you have applied for any of the federal relief programs that are out there, and if so, which ones?
I applied for the PPP loan through the SBA. No, I applied for the EIDL loan through the SBA. And also when I didn't hear back from them, I got a notification from my payment merchant that they were going to process PPP loans, and mine was specifically through Square. So since I didn't hear back from the SBA, I had applied for the PPP loan. And then also when I found out that self-employed individuals can apply for PUA, I applied for that as well. When I applied for EIDL, I did not hear back from them for almost a month. When I applied for PPP, I got approved the same day. And they told me that I was going to get the loan within the next 7 to 10 business days. Within that 7 to 10 business days, SBA finally got back to me, and they said I got approved for the EIDL loan as well. And then the PUA, I have been told, that status is still pending, and I think I applied in early April. And when I got both loans, it was actually, I think, a post by Shanté who said that if you got approved for both loans, then consult with your accountant. So that's what I did, and he let me know a couple of things that I did not know. For example, if you got approved for both, you're definitely going to have to pay back one. Only one could be forgiven.
Mm-hmm.
And I told them I had no problem with that. It's just, I didn't want to be surprised with that. So I'm grateful that she posted that, because I don't even think I would have thought to consult with my accountant until it was close to tax time. So thank you for that.
Good for you. Good for you. And I just wanted to mention one thing, because you said that you had applied for PUA. You still haven't heard back from them. Just for others that are out there that have applied for these multiple programs, just know that if you do apply for PUA, which is a pandemic unemployment assistance program that is from the federal government, but is distributed through your state government, if you get the PPP, right, once you get funded by any of these EIDL or PPP programs, you have to suspend your unemployment benefits. Okay, so you can get it. So say you got it, then you apply for PPP, and then a month later you got funded for your PPP. At that time, you would just suspend your unemployment. Okay, so they want to avoid you from double dipping and making sure that you're using these allocated funds for what they were intended for, right? So they each serve their individual purpose. Okay, so I just wanted to clarify that. Angie, did you take advantage of any of the federal relief programs?
Yeah, so I attempted to apply for EIDL. At that point, I guess the money had exhausted, so it was no longer eligible, and it had reverted to the agricultural business owners. And so I've actually just been applying to private industry grants. So just waiting to hear from the multiple grants that I applied to for consideration. So hopefully at least one will, come through with something. So I have done that.
Okay, awesome. Simone?
Yeah, I have applied for everything, and I appreciate the post as well, Shanté, because certainly from a grant standpoint, you're always on top of it. And so I make a note of grants to go after. So I applied for the PPP, and I think it was really a good opportunity to tighten up your back end numbers as a CEO. So for me, the information that they were asking for, I didn't necessarily have everything. So I had to go back and get some things done, but it really has forced me to think more business oriented than more of the talent that I bring to the table. So I'm looking more at the back end now. So I applied for the PPP. I also applied for the EIDL, and I've been applying for grants. I think the process has been elongated. I've been approved for both. I need to now go to an accountant and get some knowledge on how to proceed, especially from the PPP standpoint of forgiveness and going through that application that is now available. I will say that I have found there's a Facebook group by Jamie Truel, and it's called Financial Literacy for Business Owners. And it's been really, really helpful in understanding the process and even the calculations of payroll and how to do that. So, but I do need as a next step to meet with an accountant and really better understand how I proceed. My next step is to really not get really so much into debt with these loans, but to really shift over to more grant-based. And I think that there's some bias there because there's a lot of them that are 3 or more employees, and I'm a solopreneur. So really finding the ones that are best for me to go after. I'm keeping my eye on that.
Absolutely. And I just want to say regarding the PPP loan, so if you haven't heard of that, that is a paycheck protection program, which is again funded under the CARES Act and is administered by the SBA. There is still $100 billion available in funding for you if you need it. And I'm Simone of the same mindset. I'm all for free money, grants, right, and not getting more burdened down by debt. If you follow the criteria of the PPP program, the great thing about it is that it's forgivable, which means that basically it's free money, right? As long as that's why it's important that you talk to your accountant, right? That you allow someone to help you through the process, especially when it comes time for, making sure you met the requirements and you have all of your records in place, so then you can submit the application back to the financial institution that funded you to get that loan forgiven so that you don't have to pay it back. And then for all of you solopreneurs out there, a lot of you think that you don't qualify for any of these programs, so why even attempt? That is not true. You do not have to have employees to qualify for any of the programs that we've mentioned here, right? You are considered an employee of one. So for the PPP program, as a solopreneur, you can get up to $20,833 in forgivable loans. Okay, so just know that there's $100 billion still available for you to consider if that is a program for you that you want to apply for. It's different than EIDL. EIDL is not forgivable, but EIDL came with a grant up to $10,000. So then again, there's still some free money there. And like these ladies said, I have also applied for grants. There are so many that are just being put out there that's being started by individuals, private organizations, both public and private, city, county, state governments that are coming together, entrepreneur advocates that are coming together, providing grant opportunities. I share them all the time. And I'm sure these ladies, they apply for some that I may not even know about, but they are out there. And the thing is they're making the process to get them simpler. Yeah. I mean, literally, I think the longest time I've taken to fill out an application maybe was 30 minutes. Versus when you normally apply for a grant, you have to get a grant writer, you have to go through this lengthy process. All of that has been cut out. Why? Because these are unprecedented times. There's never been a time like this, meaning there are opportunities that are being made available to you ladies now that may never come again. So you have to jump on it. You have to be proactive. And like Simone said, understanding things that you may be missing, but getting them in order so that when these opportunities come, you already have everything that you need so that it only takes you literally minutes to be able to submit a grant application that can get you 500, 1,000, 5,000, 10,000 or more free money for your business. Okay. So that is great information. Simone?
Yeah, I just wanted to add a couple of things based on what you were saying, Shanté. And the first thing is the grants don't have to just be financial grants. Not sure if you're aware, Thinkific has a grant. So if you are pivoting to wanting to create online courses, they have $1 million earmarked for grants. So you get to choose what type of grant you want. So I have applied for that because I'm pivoting to some online courses, and they'll provide mentorship to help you in the area of interest. So that's an example of a grant to go after. It does not have to be financial, but I'm completely with Shanté about definitely going after it. And the other comment I wanted to make about the PPP is that my understanding is that 75% of it is forgivable, the amount that is for payroll, and that there are some additional, the other 25%, it depends. Now, one of the things that I have found out that it's important to create a separate account. I have opened up a separate business account and transferred the PPP money over to that account because I know that the trail and what they'll be looking for, I want it to be clean. And I just transferred the money over there and started doing separate transactions out to other accounts, payroll, etc. So you may want to consider having a separate account for that money so that you can really keep your eye on it and it'd be easier to have a trail when you have to prove forgiveness.
I agree. I recommend the same thing. You need to have a separate account just for that PPP money. So like she said, it's clean and they can track you can track it. And if someone comes and wants to see the information, they can validate that is true and is not commingled and mixed in with other business transactions, right? And then accountant can definitely help you with that if you are not knowledgeable in doing it yourself. But there are so many tools that you can use that are out here that makes the process a lot easier. But that is good information. So these ladies here, all of us have taken advantage of these relief programs and grant opportunities that are out here. So if we have done it, we encourage you to do it because you can do it as well. And like Simone said, I just wanted to say this real quickly. All grants, like she said, are not money, right? So like Google gave out millions in grants and what they gave were ad credits. That's valuable, okay? Because who doesn't want to be on the largest search engine, right, in the world and have your business in front of your target audiences? So they gave away ad credits. I know Yelp gave away free ad space, for their small business customers. So there's a lot of organizations that are really making programs available, providing resources, tools to really help small businesses in a number of ways. FedEx is another one. They actually have a grant right now. Let me just say that again. I said it the other day that they launched on May the 25th. FedEx right now. And you can apply for that grant. Now that is a monetary grant. I believe it's $5,000 plus $500 in credits for their services. So again, definitely, I think it took less than 10 minutes to apply for that. So I would encourage you to do so as well. And we'll leave that in the comments after the show. Okay. So do take advantage of those relief programs. So next that we talked about the money and the resources that are out there for all of you ladies, I just really wanted to talk to have each of the ladies really speak to their area of expertise to really help you to be able to pivot during this time, to really maximize the opportunity that is available for you now. It's all about your mindset and how you look at this time. You can either have a negative perspective and viewpoint, or you can have a positive one for you and your business and what you can do. And like an example is like Katanni said, of what she was able to do to pivot in her business. I think this is an opportunity to really be able to utilize your gifts, maybe gifts that you have been putting on the back burner that you didn't think was a need for, that is really being called for you to be able to utilize those gifts and be able to monetize them. So Simone, I just wanted to start with you because you are the career expert, the expert in helping women own their career. So can you offer us some guidance and advice on how, no matter where women are in their career, how they can use this time to own their career in this time and be able to take their businesses to the next level?
Sure. As you said, I'm a career expert, and what I tell my clients is the 3 P's of career success. So plan, partner, and promote. You can use this time to come up with a solid career action plan. This is a time to shine a light on yourself, become self-aware of where the gaps are, and make a plan of how you're going to address them. There's never been a better time. If you don't like your job and you want to embrace your side hustle and make it full-time, make a plan on how to do it. So really go deep into the plan, not just the what of what you want to do. How much are you willing to invest in yourself to make that happen? Whose help do you need to make these things happen? Focus on the plan. The next thing is partnership. Find partners for career success. You can do tons of virtual coffee chats. You can connect on the LinkedIn platform to connect and build relationships with people, not necessarily immediately asking for something, but really cultivating real relationships. And I do that through joining various groups on Facebook, learning about people and building relationships with them. So an example of that is the Black Women Promote platform. I'm in there and just, starting to make some friends. And that's how I connected with Shanté. So partnerships, make sure that you are strategic about your partnership. Make a list of 10 people that you need to connect with to help you reach your goal and start reaching out to them. This is the perfect time to do that. I'm all about being in the driver's seat, taking ownership of your career and not waiting for things to happen for you. Let us make things happen, ladies, in 2020 and beyond. And the third thing is work on your brand and promote your personal brand. Now is the opportunity. This is an opportunity to share about my brand, my expertise. Find other opportunities, whether it's a podcast tour, whether it's writing articles on LinkedIn or for additional blogs, whether it's writing your own ebook or book. There's so many things that you can do to be in the mindset of being a driver, owning your career, as opposed to being a passenger and staying and stuck and watching what's happening and having that glass half empty perspective. So again, it's plan, partner, and promote. That is what you can do during this time to own your career.
I love it. Plan, partner, and promote. I'm all about that. Those are 3 keys. Like, ladies, I hope you got that. Those are some real gems. If you take that, what she just said right now, and start focusing on making sure that you're in that mindset, that you're taking action steps towards that, you're going to be successful. You're going to come out of this situation bigger and better. So thank you so much, Simone. Katanni. Okay. So you are a branding expert, and branding is so important. This is like a segue from what Simone just said, as far as promoting ourselves. And women just struggle in this area of being visible, of promoting themselves and their brand. What advice can you provide to our ladies to really help them to take their brand to the next level in this time? What do we need to do?
So what I can speak to what I've been doing. I just posted something in my own group. I just said, you are a brand whether you want to be or not, especially in this age of social media. So the biggest advice I can tell you is that to give these ladies is that people are always watching, and not necessarily always watching your business. Sometimes they're watching you. That's why Simone had mentioned something, mentioned personal branding. Personal brand and your business brand are almost interconnected now. You might want to separate the two, but it's really hard to, especially in this age of social media. Mm-hmm. So what I normally tell people is that people are always watching. You know, a lot of people focus on how many social media followers they have, how many likes they can get, and how big their group is, and things of that nature. And I can tell you, my biggest clients, and I'm talking about 4, close to 5-figure per month retainers, are people who have never liked a post of mine. They might be they might not even be Facebook friends of mine, but they've never liked a post of mine. They've never requested to be my friend. They've never joined my group, but they were watching me in terms of anything public that I would post when they did research. When they did research me, they would ask around, and yeah. That's the biggest thing. You never know who's watching, and you never know where your big break is going to be. So you should constantly, persistently, and consistently take the little steps to build your brand. Another thing I've noticed, or I've been working on actually, is my visibility strategy. I've been doing what I've been doing for 13 years, and I've almost always just relied on word of mouth. Even today, most of my clients were referred by someone else. But what I have been doing is just cultivating more relationships and working on a visibility strategy. So I had planned on doing more speaking engagements and vending at more events this year, but that was taken away almost in an instant. So that shifted to signing up for more virtual conferences and virtual summits, and honing my group a little bit more. It's still pretty small. There's less than 200 people in it, but but I've been slowly building that community, when before I was kind of neglecting it, going on a podcast tour, as Shanté mentioned, and focusing on my visibility that way. Instead of focusing on something what people feel like you should be doing, like post and for example, posting on social media all the time, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook. I have those things and I do post on those things, but it's not what I consider my area of expertise. My area of expertise is building relationships, and what I've been able to do is build relationships with smaller communities, and just branch out that way. So that kind of makes up a third point: to stick to what you're good at in your brand, and stop trying to make something that you're not so good at work. Not saying that you can't learn, but while you're learning, while you're learning something else, stick to what you are good at to build your brand and get yourself more visible. But while you're sticking to what you're good at, you'll have the time to focus on an area that maybe you're not so good at, instead of abandoning completely what you're good at to try to make something else work.
Yeah, that's good. Know that, understand that you are the brand, right? People connect with you. And I think it's so important what you said about, it doesn't matter how many people following you, if they ever like you, just know people are watching you all the time. And how you show up matters. How you show up is important. How you show up can mean the difference between if you succeed or if you fail in business. There's so too many stories to even tell. She told a great one here, but just know that, and know that there are so many opportunities that were mentioned here to take, to be more visible, to get that exposure, to build your own platform, and to get on other platforms that are out there. There are people across social media that are putting out calls every day, all day, asking for people to write on their blogs, to be a guest on their show, to be a guest on their podcast. So these are all, to be a speaker or presenter at their event. These are all opportunities for you to get visible. And this is not the time to be shy, right? This is the time. This is not the time to turn down opportunities. You never know who is watching, who needs you, and who needs what you are offering. So, ladies, be visible, be the brand, okay? And take those opportunities. Angie, what advice can you offer our ladies from an HR perspective? This is important. So I'm really eager to hear what advice that you have for us.
Yes, well, I think it kind of all ties into branding and also thinking about your employees. So for those of you that have employees, not only are you the brand, your employees are the brand. So it's really important during this time where we're going through this crisis that you take care of those employees, making ensure that you're very humanistic and empathetic of what's happening with their situations. Just like Simone mentioned about childcare, a lot of our employees have childcare issues. They have direct care that they're providing. So now is the time to being able to really help them, support them during this time, so that can alleviate any issues or concerns that they may have, so that they can be great producers of your work and also represent your company as the great brands that you have out there in the workspace.
I love it. Thank you so much. Look, we could go on forever. There's so much that we can talk about. We may have to come back on here to do a part 2. But this has been a wealth of information. I thank you, ladies, all for being here with us, for sharing your words of wisdom and being able to share your own personal experience, because that's what we connect with. We connect with people based on these shared experiences, right? And understanding that we're all in business, but we've all been impacted. So that, what does that tell you? That you are not alone in this, that we are all going through something in our own ways, that we can relate to you, we can empathize with what you're going through, and know that we're in this together. So how we get through this is by supporting each other through this time, right? Being a support, being a resource for each other, being a connector for each other is really going to help us to be able to rise and thrive during this time. So I just want you each lady to just leave the guests with, how can they connect with you after the show? Where can they find you? Angie?
Sure. You can find me on Facebook at HR Chique Group. Is HRCHIQE Group. I'm also found on Instagram and LinkedIn as well. So let's connect.
Thank you. Simone?
Yes, you can find me on SimoneMorrisEnterprises.org, that website, and all the social media platforms under Simone Morris or Simone Morris Enterprises.
Thank you. Katanni?
I'd like to thank my parents for giving me a truly unique name. If you Google my first name, most of it, about 95% of it, is going to be about me. So you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn, just through my first and last name. And also, if you want to connect with me directly, the easiest way is actually through my Facebook group, and it's called Power Brands and Messy Hands. Find your personal brand superpower. So that's the easiest way.
Awesome. So again, we thank these ladies for being here with us on our show for this special broadcast that we know is so important. We see all the comments out there. We appreciate you for tuning in. Like I said, we will follow up after the show to engage with you all and answer any questions that you have. We will also make sure that we leave our information. So if you would like to connect with us, you can do that. We would love to have you on as a guest, have you be part of the show. We spotlight women in a number of different ways. So if you would like to be part of the show and join our community, please do follow us everywhere we are on social media at She Boss Talk, and do visit our website at www.shebosstalk.com. I want to mention that right now, what we have done as a business is initiated a She Boss Up Fund, where we've already raised $1,500 to provide grants for women business owners. So we need more help to do it. We know that if we put our little bits together, that we can make a lot, that we can build up this fund to really support women in business, to help them with anything that they need. That is free money. Shebossup.com. Thank you so much for being with us. Until next time, continue to be the boss with amplified impact. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.